Um, I try to stay away from politics because there's so much negativity around it in in how we approach others. And there was a famous study done that focused on the news. And if you look at the news, my dad said something that by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, all the news is just copy and paste, right? So a couple years ago, I was thinking to myself, all I hear on the news is just negative, 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 negative. It's who got murdered, it's who got robbed, it's what's going on in the world. And this was during the pandemic. So, the world was shutting down, everyone was dying, nobody cared about people, everybody was isolated, and it was just fear all the way around. And I thought to myself, why isn't there a good news network? Why isn't there a news platform that just spreads good news? Well, you know what, Val? There is. And it's been around for like 30 years.
Really?
People, absolutely. Guess what it's called?
What?
The, the Good News Network.
Come on. Is that
I swear to God.
really?
Swear to God. It's called the Good News Network. And all it does is talk about good news. And so there's this famous study that was done that looked on it's a positive psychology study. And what it looked at was, what are we inputting into ourselves and how does it affect us long term throughout the day? And the study found that if you watched only 3 minutes of regular network news, of negative input news in the morning, you had a high 70% chance of reporting later in the day that you had a bad day. So just 3 minutes of negative input in the morning affects how you viewed your day at the end of the day. And we could go on about positive psychology and I could talk about that forever. Gratitude journaling and things like that. People who end their day or start their day with gratitude journaling tend to have a brighter outlook and a more optimistic look on life, right? And all of this feeds back into that judgment piece, right? You can't help but judge, right? It's as old as time. It's as old as Adam and Eve, right? Um, but you can reframe. You can stop once you recognize, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not having the most positive thought here. Maybe my thought pattern isn't the healthiest right now, and become introspective of what does that thought pattern do to me? How does that affect me long term? How does it affect my day? How does it affect how I look at the things around me? How does it affect my interpersonal relationships and the interpersonal dynamics? How does it affect the way that I speak to others? How does it affect the way that I speak to myself? Um, it's important to recognize that you can't control that first thought. That's innate. It's hardwired. There's nothing you can do about that first thought. But there's something you can do about the second thought, or the third thought, or the 10th thought, or the 500th thought.
Wow, that is really good. And I, of course, in real time here, I did fact check you, and you are right, Tanner. There is a good news network. I don't know why I
Right?
didn't know this, but wow, this is so exciting. It looks like it's powered by the Hope Squad. So this is on my radar. I will be doing a deep dive. I can't wait to read about it. But you are